and girls. Okay, so I know this is not the most ideal way to be recording right now. Obviously, our instructions are going to be pre-recorded, our videos, all of our lessons. So I definitely wanted to give you a little bit of FaceTime at least. So
I'm going to go ahead and share a little bit
your first
about
art
this op art,
lesson,
what
you're
it
actually
stands
going to
for,
be doing
some of the people who inspired
our
artists.
hands. Now I know
And
you
then
might
we'll
have
go
seen
ahead and
these in
start
the
your
past. You
instructions
might have
for
seen your
your
brothers
op
or
art hand.
sisters do these. So now it's your turn. Please let me know if you have any questions. If you need to come to my office hours, definitely feel free to, even if it's just to say hi or to show me your progress. I would love to see that. But let's go ahead and get into it.
So here's a really great example of what you guys will be doing
for your op art hands. Now we are going to be doing the same effect, creating this optical illusion, which is what op art stands for. Even though we are drawing them flat, we are going to make them appear as though they are 3D on our flat paper. And that is the whole goal at the end of this project, is achieving that three-dimensional look on our flat piece of paper. But first, let's talk a little bit about Victor Vasarely, who is known as the godfather of op art. So let's go ahead and talk about Victor Vasarely a little bit more. Victor was a French artist who really became popular in the 20th century. So he was known as a 20th century artist because he was all about change. So before people like Vasarely really started experimenting with art, it was typical for the general public, everyday people, to enjoy seeing things as such as landscapes or portraits or really a happy-go-lucky everyday type paintings. Victor Vasarely and artists like him were trying to change the perspective that people were typically seeing, the perspective of art that people were typically seeing. The way of doing that was playing around with shapes and color, perspective, things that kind of engaged your eye a little bit differently. He wanted people to feel as though there were things moving or popping out at them when they actually looked at his artwork. This was kind of Vasarely's way of becoming popular and becoming famous. The idea that people did not understand what they were looking at, and that in turn brought everyone together to go look at his artwork. He became a talking point and a selling point because he knew that people were not used to seeing this type of art, and so he continued to create it anyway. Okay, so let's go ahead and start with your drawings. I hope you have your pencil and paper ready. And again, you can use any kind of paper for this. If you have an old sketchbook laying around or printer paper or construction paper, anything like that will work. Your first step is to go ahead and trace your hand. Now, obviously my hand is a little bit bigger than most of yours, so mine takes up more of the paper, but you do want your hand to be pretty much centered, and don't forget to trace your wrist off the paper as well. Don't just stop at your hand, you want to make sure you are drawing your wrist as well, so please don't forget that. You might need help tracing your hand. If you do, maybe you can ask like a brother or sister, or maybe your parents to help you trace. I know that could be a little tough, but I'm taking my time. I am slowly tracing around my entire hand and my wrist. All right, there we go. Perfect trace down hand. Okay, so you're going to want to go ahead and grab either a ruler or some kind of straight edge. You can use a binder or a book edge if you need to, but you just want to be able to create straight lines for the back behind your hand that you've drawn. So I am making sure this first line is as straight as possible, not going down and not all the way up, as straight as you can possibly make it. Okay, and if it's a little bit off, that's okay, but remember the whole goal is to have these nice straight lines behind the hand. All right, one hand holding the ruler, the other drawing the line. So now I'm going to bring my ruler down, and I am going to end up tracing my line behind my fingers. So I am going to draw my line, stop at the finger, lift up my pencil, go around the finger, and then begin again on the other edge. So you should not be drawing through your hand, just behind it. All right, here's another example. We have 3 of our fingers pointing out this time. So we're going to skip through all of those. We are going to draw to the finger, stop, draw between the fingers, stop, draw again, and stop, and then finally all the way through, okay? Not drawing in the hand, only behind the hand. All right, and of course, if you need to pause the video or go back to kind of watch how we did those steps, please feel free to. Again, same thing, if you did end up drawing through the hand, you can always erase those lines as well. But we want to make sure we have a nice empty hand for this next part. So what we're going to do next is create these arches going through the hand, meeting onto the other side. So what this will do is make the illusion as though our hand is lifting up from those lines. And I'm going to do this a few times. I sketched out with my pencil, not actually touching the pencil to the paper, just sketching it out to get the idea of what arch I wanted to create, how long or how tall I wanted to. So starting from one line, meeting towards the end. Just nice, easy curves. Again, starting from this line, going up and over. Okay, and this could get a little bit tough in here. I think I actually messed up on this line a few times, but it's okay. We can always erase if you do mess up. But again, we want to stop or start at the end, go all the way up and over to that other line as best as we can. Draw lightly. If you mess up, you can always erase. Going up, 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 and over. Okay, so that's not too bad. So now don't forget, you still have to go into the thumb as well, but there's a space in between there. So we're going to draw our arch in the hand. And I actually think I correct this arch later. I don't love that one so much, but we'll fix it later if we don't love it. And then draw the arch in the thumb. All right, so we only have a few more lines left, still connecting from the left-hand side over to the right side, making sure our lines match up for the most part with the lines that we did in the back. And then moving on to each finger as well, creating a small arch in there. And you can go ahead and do all of the fingers. I'm going to fast forward the video so that we can kind of keep going a little bit faster. If you need to pause it or slow it down, you can always pause it and then come back to what you need. And here is the first part of our op art hand. Again, if you need to correct any of your lines, you can go ahead and do that. If some of them are too curvy or not curvy enough, you might want to go ahead and correct it now. Obviously right now it doesn't look very optical illusion-ish yet. Once we color it, it will turn out to look as though it is popping out of the page. So that is something that we'll cover in our next video.